What's going on, everybody? Chris Wortman here alongside
Brandon Petta. How we doing, gang? Our guest today, we got Adam Badger.
That's right, Adam. Welcome to the Higher Purpose Podcast, episode 7.
Episode 7, baby.
Yeah,
I can't
come
believe
a long
it.
way. 7.
Yeah.
So, Adam, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us. And could you introduce yourselves to us and tell the viewers a little bit about yourself? I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're good, man. My name's Adam Badger. I own my own personal training company called Badger Strength. I also own an online coaching company called Consistent Coaching. I've been a personal trainer, fitness coach for coming up on 8 years. So I've been in it a while. I started my own business back in 2018. So I've navigated the waves of the pandemic and all that stuff. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm a husband, a dad, and a business owner. That's pretty much my only identity. I don't really have any hobbies outside of that.
Oh, it sounds like you got a full plate, man. But the reason I knew of Adam and we knew of each other, we follow each other on Instagram. But Adam also had a podcast with Ty Hammett, who we had on the pod last week, and Ty has talked you up a ton, man. He's only said great things about you, man. And the way I put it, if someone's close with Ty, then I mean they're gonna be a good person because that dude is just the absolute man. So I knew we were gonna get along right off the bat, just from what Ty had to say about you, man.
Oh yeah, man. I love Tyler. Yeah. Tyler's definitely a good judge of character. So if Tyler says you're a good dude, then usually means you're a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
And actually, I know Tyler's going to be starting his own podcast because he moved. So that's the only reason why we stopped our podcast. But I actually continued that podcast on my own. So it's called Talk and Fit with Adam Badger. So that's on Apple and Spotify as well.
Hell yeah, man. Awesome. No, I've definitely listened to some episodes, and it's a great podcast. Definitely check it out. But so Adam, you also, so we were talking a little bit before, so you said in your fitness journey, you were working at Vent Fitness prior, correct?
Yep.
And how long were you there for?
So I was there from 2014 to 2017. So beginning of 2014 to end of 2017, 3.5 years.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm generally curious because, in which location were you at?
So I was a personal trainer at the Clifton Park location. And then I actually was the regional training manager for all the locations. So I was in charge of writing the group programming, hiring and training new trainers. And then I was also doing 25, 30 hours of appointments a week on top of that. So when I left, I was kind of in charge of the training department of all the locations.
Yeah. Wow. No, dude, that's incredible. I'm super curious though, because I was, prior to being here with Chris, I was also working at Vent at the Guilderland location. And they definitely have, it's a great facility. They have some great trainers there. I'm curious as to, with your journey, what was the experience that you did gain while you were at Vent, and what led you to kind of go off on your own and start your own thing?
Okay. So, well, my experience at Vent, honestly, I had a good experience there. I know the business model and things have changed a lot since I left. So I can't really comment on what it's like now, but when I started there, it was a much different setup. It wasn't as I don't know if the listeners know what Vent Fitness is. It's basically like a Gold's Gym, a smaller franchise in upstate New York. So it was originally a Gold's. Actually, they used to own a Gold's Gym franchise. They turned it into Vent. So it had more of that Gold's Gym feel when I started working there, and they've since renovated it, and it's become more of an LA Fitness sort of feel. Yeah. But when I started working there, it was my first job as a trainer. So I was making $8 an hour plus whatever, commissions you get off of appointments. And I had a lot of experience as, lifting weights and working out on my own, but I didn't have any experience training people. And all the other trainers who worked there were fucking great trainers. So they were all way smarter than me, way more experienced than me, way busier than me. So it forced me to learn and forced me to get really, really good, really fast, or else I wasn't going to make any money. So it was a great environment. And honestly, if I could capture that environment that I was in when I first became a trainer, I would put that up against, I would basically recommend any new trainer be in that environment. It was the perfect environment, and it was just sheer luck on my part because I just happened to live in Clifton Park at the time, and that was the gym I worked out at. But there's a few local trainers who still are around this area, and you guys might know them. but my friend Dan Jones, he owns Capital District Strength and, or sorry, I forget his name. I forget the name of his fucking gym. It's they train baseball players.
Wait, yeah, I know Mike.
Capital District's Mike Serrani and Dan Jones.
Yeah.
So
Mike.
Dan Jones used to work there. This my friend Darren, he's a super experienced trainer. He used to work there. My friend Jamie Connell, who still works at Vent. My friend Matt Chatham, who's the strength and conditioning coach at Skidmore College, was working there when I got a job there. So to kind of shorten it was a great experience on my part, man. I was young, hungry. I had made a decision this was going to be my career. So I spent the first 6 months just earning everyone's respect, showing up at 5 a.m. before everyone else was there, trying to get appointments, booking E3s, bugging the training manager to give me, for those free assessments that walk in the door. It was a very shark-like atmosphere, but not in a bad way. Sure. Not in a way where people were trying to steal clients, just in a way that like, hey man, you're out here. If you're not trying to get clients, someone else is going to take them. Yeah. So I was there for about 2 years at this point, and I felt like I kind of hit my ceiling. I was, I've had 40 hours a week of appointments. I was probably one of the busiest trainers in the gym. So then I kind of looked around to see like what my options were. And the only option was to apply for a promotion, which was the regional training director. So just a quick, it's kind of a small accomplishment on the grand scheme of things, but it was something I was very proud of at the time, because my friend Matt had that job and he left, and they asked 4 trainers to apply for it. And the application process was basically interviewing in front of, the management and then training trainers for 4 weeks and trying to earn that spot. So they asked 4 trainers and I wasn't one of them. And then I asked if I could be involved in the process, and I was told, well, we don't really think you're a right fit, but we appreciate that you want to, so we'll give you a shot. And then I ended up getting the job. Wow. So like, it was something that I was always very proud of, because I don't have a college degree. I don't have a degree in exercise science. I wasn't a super experienced trainer. I won it because I was able to retain I'm able to retain information about fitness and nutrition, and then explain it in a way that's understandable to a large audience. So my communication skills were what got me that job. And then I had that for about a year. And then I actually got offered a job to start up a corporate wellness company with another studio. And they offered me kind of like, a 4-day-a-week work schedule when I was used to working 6 days. And it was the potential to make a lot more money. So I was like, I love where I'm at, but I really kind of reached my ceiling, whatever. I made the decision to go. Ended up being such a bad decision because it was a mismanaged company. They didn't have their shit together. And then within 6 months, they were like, we can't afford to pay your salary anymore. They laid me off.
No. Wow.
So yeah. So I ended up giving up a job that I really liked, that I was successful at, just for money. And then it screwed me over. So I got laid off on like March. I remember the date. It was March 16th, 2018. And I had my LLC by April 1st or March 30th. Like, I just was like, well, I gotta train people. So I leased space at a CrossFit gym. I took on a couple of clients that, wanted to stick with me, and I've just grown from there. And I've been running my own business ever since, learning on the go. It's been a very stressful, crazy, experience, but it's been awesome. The benefits have far outweighed any cons.
Wow. Yeah, dude, that's an incredible story, man. And it just speaks. I kind of want to, you kind of said a lot there, and I do want to unpack. I touched on a lot. Yeah, I want to unpack a little bit from the earlier points you made. Like, I totally feel the same way, and I'm sure Chris, you can too. Like, when you start personal training people, if you want to become a personal trainer or interested in this, you have got to be ready and geared up to do your own research and due diligence, and just be willing to learn as much as you possibly can. Because that was the thing at Metabolic, and that was the reason I left as well, is we were given the workouts, the templates every single day, and we just delivered them. Well, I wanted to have the freedom in order to create my own programs and this and that. But so when you start working with different clientele, everyone needs a different fucking program. Everyone's in a totally different place.
I call it my tool belt. like everybody. So I like to keep my tool belt loaded with all sorts of different exercises, routines, and I've exposed myself to like, I feel like different traditional strength. You look at powerlifting, bodybuilding, and more physique, CrossFit, HIIT. So like the more that I can have in my tool belt, the more that I can like best help a client. I feel like so. I like to keep my tool belt loaded, and I'm always open to learning. I mean, I think we're really lucky now too with social media, like fitness being so big. Mm-hmm. I see things all the time, just like real quick on a reel or something, and I'm like, oh, like I should try that out. And then I'll try it, and if I like it, I'll start to show my clients. Yeah,
but no, it just speaks a lot to like your mindset and attitude. I feel like a reason that you probably were so successful is because you were hungry to learn, and that's just like a part of the freaking job, man. Like there's constantly different like more things, different exercises, like different. It's an ongoing process, and it just like speaks a lot to be successful. Like you're gonna have to continue that education like over and over again.
Yeah, and it's evolving. I mean, everything's always nutrition, exercise. It's evolving every day, really.
Exactly.
Nutrition, especially learning about it in school, it's a relatively new science. So, as more and more research comes out, and then dealing with fad dieting and all that, like things are always changing. You got to stay right on top of it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. Like, so I've always seen the best success as a trainer and as a coach, the more I focus on human behavior and the psychology that goes into this stuff, as opposed to the nuts and bolts. And that's one of the reasons why I think I've been able to connect with so many people and so many clients, is because I don't have like that textbook background, but I understand this. And I think a lot of it comes down to, if you're dealing with, Nancy, who's, 50 years old and wants to lose 30 pounds, you can have all those tools in your tool belt, but you need to know, well, realistically, like, what am I actually going to use with her? And what is her actual issue? Is her actual issue that she doesn't know how to lunge properly? Or is her actual issue that she has very low self-esteem and doesn't think she's worthy of losing weight, so she keeps self-sabotaging herself? So those are the things that I've learned over the years. But to your point, I think that now, because it's going to make me sound old, I'm only 31, but like when I started working out, I was like 13 years old. Sure. So we're talking, 2001, 2002 range. No cell phones, no Instagram, no Facebook, no, not even MySpace yet. So, when I would go to the gym, it would just be intimidating. And there wasn't a lot of information out there. So you have to learn a lot on your own. And because of that built my base level of knowledge, just learning all that stuff on the go. I feel like now, because fitness is way more mainstream and we do have access to that stuff, it's awesome for people like us, because we can weed through it and go, is this a useful tool, or is this not a useful tool? Right. But for our clients, they don't know. So they see all this information and they're just overwhelmed. And a lot of people get so overwhelmed that they just don't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's our job as trainers to be able to weed through that and communicate to them what actually matters, and then hold them accountable and make sure that they, actually see results and stick to it long-term and all that good stuff. So I guess my long-winded point is that I think now the problem is most people getting into personal training, 2 weeks in, they're already like, I want to be an online fitness coach and I want to have, 100,000 Instagram followers. And they don't take the time to actually put in, like you said, Chris, like you've been doing and Brandon's been doing and I've done, is putting in the 20, 30, 40-hour weeks of working with human beings in person over the course of years to have the knowledge to go, oh, now I feel comfortable training someone online.
Yeah, no, dude, you're absolutely right, man. And it's such a good point, like filtering through the nonsense. That was such a huge reason why I came into this industry, because I was the person that I was spending fucking 3 hours for years, high school, college, like at the gym. I was doing shit like I did keto. I was doing like fucking egg days, like shit that like my mom like would suggest to me. And I was just doing all this stuff to see what would work. And it was such obviously like spending hours and hours and hours in the gym. Like I was so sick and tired at that point in time of not knowing for certain if what I was doing was optimal or the right way. And I was like, I've had it. I decided at that point in time anyways, like I was asking myself what I really wanted to do. And I was like, you know what? I really want to get my like certifications. I want to dive into fitness all the way because I want to learn how to filter through the bullshit so I know for myself, and then I can help other people so they don't waste their fucking time anymore, man. Yeah. Because so much time you can spend in the gym or just listen to the first person who looks skinny that they don't eat carbs, and you're like, it's got to be the carbs, this person's skinny. And it's like, yo, people just have no fucking idea.
That is like one of my biggest pet peeves too, hearing people think like carbs are amazing fuel sources. So I
think the one thing you learn too, the more you do it and the more you go through stuff, is that pretty much everything works to a certain degree. It's just a matter of what's sustainable for you. And for us, like, I think it's important that trainers do go through those phases that you went through, Brendan, like going through the phases of trying everything and seeing that it's not all it's cracked up to be. Because I've done that. Like, I've done powerlifting, bodybuilding style training, CrossFit style training, functional training. I've done where I was trained more for running. I've done almost every sort of diet style you can think of. And what you learn after a while is if you stick to like these basic principles over time, they work really, really well. It's just basic stuff. But again, for our clients, though, we need to be able to communicate that to them. And I find that a lot of it is not necessarily just teaching, but it's just reminding. Most of the stuff you teach your clients, you teach them in the first month. And then it's just constant reminding them because they need to be reassured that what they're doing is working, that what they're doing is the right way, even if it's not going as fast as they want. And I think what happens with a lot of people is they have the same mentality you and I had, which is you try something and then you're like, but is this the best thing? So you go to a new thing, and there's really no best thing. It's just sticking to those basic principles.
Right. And I always say too, like the wheel's been invented. So like it was already invented 30, 40, 50 years ago, whatever it is. But it's like sticking to those basic principles of like move more, eat a little bit less, calories in, calories out, things like that. Like, it's really that simple. Like, the equation this is not a huge science project. Like, the equation to losing weight, to gaining muscle, it's very simple. And I think, honestly, that's where the oversaturation, too, nowadays, like, I work with a lot of high school kids, and they'll be like, they'll show me a TikTok, and it's like someone standing on top of their head doing bicep curls upside down. They're like, is that the key to getting big arms? It's like, it's almost like, why is this on the internet? And why, just sticking to the basic principles, like that's how we're gonna get things done. So, and I also think you while you were talking there, I was thinking one of my favorite questions I get asked when I'm working with a client is like the question why. So I think a lot of people like oh, this works, or like when we were saying like something works, but like I love when clients dig deeper and they're asking me more of the mechanism behind things, like, well, why is this gonna help me lose weight, or why does this exercise help my squat increase or my hip mobility? All of these things, like, I think it's really important that as trainers, we're not only like showing them the process, but teaching like the why behind the mechanisms and like why the diet.
100%.
And
that's so important.
And making sure like they're well educated. Like, I always look at myself as more of an educator, and I tell people all the time, like, while we're exercising, pick my brain about diet, because I feel like I'm a walking textbook. So I can anything you have. So I think it's important that we're educating, keeping our knowledge, or using our knowledge to help clients understand the why portion behind like why we're doing certain exercises, certain movements, and why we're preaching to eat a certain way or do something.
Yeah. I think at best we're just like a trustworthy system of communication between like facts and then relaying it to clients. So anytime someone says that they've like invented like workout style or like a diet program that's like revolutionary or it's the way to go, that's gonna be your first red flag that something's like usually bullshit. Because like we're none of us are inventing anything. We're just taking information and sharing it and teaching people how to use it. So it'd be like a science teacher coming into class and saying that they invented the thing they're about to teach you. It's you're like, I don't know about that. So I think that's what happens a lot with studios and trainers online. They come up with like a name for something, and then they plug it as it's this brand new invention that it's the best way to train, it's the best way to eat. and I'll probably niche you out a lot of money doing it that way. But at the end of the day, like, they probably are helping people marginally because they're getting them to move more and eat less. But realistically, I prefer to just be honest with people. And I tell my clients all the time, like, I'm not inventing any of the stuff I'm telling you. None of this is my theory. I'm just sharing facts with you, but you trust me. So you're trusting what I'm telling you is fact. Actually, one of my clients, she's a physician. She's a doctor. So, and I told her, I'm like, you're way smarter than me. Like you know way more about this, like, the human body, and you're way more educated than I am, but you're also smart enough to know I don't know enough about nutrition. So I'm going to go to someone who I believe does. Yeah. And that's the true mark of like someone who's intelligent, I feel, is someone who's willing to say they don't know everything and willing to learn about the stuff they don't know.
Right.
Yeah, no, man, I totally agree with that. And when it comes to the online presence, a way I've thought about it, which makes a ton of sense, is I follow so many different accounts and so many different online coaches, right? We're all saying the same thing. We're just packaging it differently. We're just packaging it differently so that and maybe one way that you convey something sparks something in someone, but it doesn't in a different way. So that's all it is we're saying the same thing. We're just packaging it a little bit differently, right?
Yeah, and that's where the fun of training comes into play, especially when you own your own business, is because you can kind of be yourself and communicate the way you like to communicate, and you're going to find the people who want to go to you for information. So like you guys and myself, we're all like selling the same product. We're all selling fitness, a sustainable way of eating, a sustainable way of training. But the way you guys communicate it might open you up to X number of people, and the way I communicate it will open me up to other people. Doesn't mean that my way is better or your way is better, or one way is wrong, one way is right, because we're just communicating the same stuff. We just find different tribes, right?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of what's out there now, it gets very frustrating because you'll get people who, they have a great body, or they just have the personality aspect, and they're communicating very poor, sometimes harmful information, and they're getting a lot of people to buy into it. And that's frustrating to me, because I'm just like, if that one person took the extra time to just communicate useful, non-harmful information, they could do a lot of good, but they're just not,
Absolutely, man. And like, to transition a little over into the online presence, like, what have you found has been your biggest challenge with working online, and how is it so much different than working with clients in person?
So are you talking about like social media presence, or just working with online clients in general?
Honestly, both. I'd love to hear both, like, kind of both your takes into how it was for you to create business, and how it has been for you to kind of be on there and put yourself out there each and every day.
Awesome. So I didn't have I actually didn't even have like an Instagram till like 2016. And then I didn't start posting on it regularly. It's like 2019, 2020. Like I would just post sporadically. So I had I still don't have a huge online presence, but when I started my business, I probably had like 200 Instagram followers, like nothing crazy. I had no reach, beyond just the walls of whatever gym I was working out at the time. So with social media, I don't have a huge social media following now, but I've been able to go from 200 to, 1,200 followers over the course of, a couple of years. And again, that's not a lot, but I'm able to make a good living with not a huge following, because the people who do follow me are bought in, and they're involved, and they're, they will go to me for information. They'll attend the stuff. They're more engaged. So I think, as far as social media goes, one thing that I've definitely learned is that followers do not equal income. So like, if you're a new trainer out there, don't get so caught up in trying to get more followers. Just keep putting out quality information. You can use tactics to help you get out to more people. But at the end of the day, I personally know people who have fitness pages who have 50,000, 60,000 followers, but make no money off of fitness. And I have 1,200, and I have a very good online coaching business. So I've seen that like social media is helpful if you use it the right way, but it's not the make or break of what you're doing. So that, as far as online coaching in general, when I first started doing it, I was not confident in it, so it was very sporadic. I would just do my in-person training, and I would try to get in-person clients. But then if someone, it was basically like, oh, if someone couldn't afford personal training, I would offer them online coaching as like at a lower rate. I've learned over the years that online coaching can actually be way more valuable than in-person coaching, because with in-person, if you're training someone twice a week, you only have access to them for 90 minutes total for the whole week. Online coaching, my clients have access to me every single day. I'm writing their workouts for the whole week. I'm helping them with their nutrition. So for online coaching, what I found, and to kind of wrap this tangent up, is basically providing as much value as possible is the way to go. So whether it's social media or online coaching, how much value can you provide? Not how many things can you give, how much value can you provide? So if you're doing online coaching, it's not like I'm going to give you A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then all the way to Z. It's just, I can give you A, B, C, and that's going to change your life. If you can provide people with like 2 to 3 very valuable things, and then you just got to keep hitting on those topics over and over and over, because like we talked about, it's just about reminding people. So if you go through my social media, I'm pretty much talking about the same stuff all the time, the same like 5 to 7 things. It's just, you got to keep reminding people, that once someone likes an Instagram post, they probably never go back and look at it again. So you have to remind them over and over and over.
And you actually alluded to earlier, you said something about, I think it was reminding your clients that they're like worthy of losing weight or something in that sense. I totally agree with that. And actually read a book recently, or listened to the audiobook called The Big Leap, which was essentially all about that concept that we don't believe that exactly like that we're worthy of getting what we actually want to, and so we continue to self-sabotage ourselves, whether it's every single weekend binge drinking or eating the big pizza to reward ourselves after we just absolutely crushed our lifts and our nutrition all week long. Why do you think that's so common amongst people on their fitness journeys, and why do people continue to do that over and over again?
Honestly, well, it depends on the person. I think a lot of it has to do with your childhood trauma. And when I say childhood trauma, it doesn't always mean something big. Like what I've learned over the years, just studying psychology, is that the childhood trauma isn't always just abuse or things of that nature. Childhood trauma could be just the way food was talked about in your house. It's anything that just has a long lasting effect on you in a negative way. Some people can take their childhood trauma and make it a positive thing. Like, I have my own childhood trauma that I feel like I've been able to turn into some positive outlets in my life. But there's a lot of things that have held me back, and I'm guilty of the stuff we're talking about. It may not be strictly fitness related, but I'm guilty of self-sabotage, and I'm sure you guys have before. And it just comes down to like your subconscious, your comfort zone. So one thing I explain to my clients is that your comfort zone doesn't always need to be quote unquote comfortable. So I think people talk about comfort zones in the sense of, you got to get out of your comfort zone, instead of watching Netflix, go out for a run. But for some people, their comfort zone is just what they're used to. So if they're used to being overweight, if they've been overweight for 15, 20 years, that's what their mind, that's what their body's used to. That's what they see in the mirror every day. So when they start to hit a certain threshold of weight loss, their subconscious mind just pulls them back to that old behavior. It's whether it's, for reward, like you said, like, oh, well, I can reward myself for this poor behavior. Or sometimes it's literally just, they don't believe they can hit a certain goal. And it's not a conscious thing. That's why it's so hard to coach sometimes, because it's not like this person's waking up every day going, I know I can't lose 50 pounds. It's a subconscious thing that's not even on their mind. They have this narrative that they've built of themselves. I'm the overweight person. I'm the fat friend. I'm the person who can't lose weight. So that's the story. So they look for evidence to support that story. So what you have to do is change their narrative, coach them on, building a new narrative for themselves. And once you can flip that switch, it's really crazy the differences you can see. And I've seen that with myself, just with my business. I have a lot of self-limiting beliefs, around success and money and things like that. So I'm the king of like thinking I can't achieve things, and then I have to search for evidence to prove that I can. And it's daily work that you have to do. I'm not someone, I can speak confidently, but I'm not someone who wakes up every day and thinks that I have the skills to, conquer the world and build the life I want to. It's daily work that I have to talk myself into on a regular basis, because it would be much easier to just, stay in my comfort zone. And if I was, I probably would have just stayed at Vent if I didn't think that I had the ability to do more, Does that make sense?
Oh, 100, absolutely, man. No, I thought you put that phenomenally. And yeah, I think that obviously me and Chris have had conversations all the time. We're definitely guilty of self-sabotaging. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. That's the stuff. If I could give you guys a piece of advice, that's the stuff that will get you better relationships with clients, is letting them know that stuff about you. I think sometimes I'm this way too. I used to be the guy, and not saying that this is you, but I know me when I was a little younger, I was like, no, I'm the trainer. Like, I have to show that I'm on point every day, and I hit my workouts and I don't miss workouts and all this stuff. But for me, as soon as I started relating to clients on that psychological level of showing them that, like, I'm guilty of this stuff too, people then they're like, oh, I want to work with this guy, because you're less intimidating now. You're a human being,
Yeah, I agree. We talk about it all the time. You're right, but I'm always like, especially lately with all this stress, like lots of times I'm kind of self-sabotaging and like falling off, and clients definitely feel more comfortable knowing that I'm human, because I feel like a lot of the times people think I'm like literally spot on every day, like you were saying, and like that's far from the truth. Even today, like this morning was not a spot on morning for me. So it's like, it happens to everybody, and we are human, but it's all about how we recover. And I feel like that's sometimes what's like separates us, is like we have the ability to bounce right back and not let like one slip up or one bad day tumble into the next.
I think it sounds so fucking corny, but you have to have a strong, not to, no pun intended, but a strong purpose. You have to have a strong why as to why you're. You
have a strong why, the how becomes easy.
Yeah. It's like, it sounds so simple, but like, if you do, it doesn't change the stress, and it doesn't make you more confident, but it keeps you from completely falling off. Right. So like, I have a wife, I have a son. Like, there's literally nothing more important in my life than that. So if that means that, like, I have to eat a lot of shit to get to where I want us to be in our life and have the life that they deserve, then like, I'm going to do that. And even if I get knocked down 9 times, like, I'm not going to just stop, because the other option is just not having control of my schedule, working for someone else, and all that stuff. But again, on a regular basis, dude, like, I'll be honest with you guys, for the first year that I had my own business, even though things were going good, I still had my resume out on like Indeed and Monster, and just in case things went sour, and I could like, just nab some 9-to-5 job, and hopefully be able to do that. So, and the more I've wrapped around my head the more I wrap my head around the fact that that's just not an option for me, it just makes my day-to-day grind not easier, but it just becomes a non-negotiable. There's no negotiating on it. I'm not going to wake up one day and go, well, I'm just going to cancel my clients for the day. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, man. Non-negotiables, that's super powerful. And it's like, when you make a true decision, it means like there's no other possibility like that you will allow into the picture. So I just tweeted about this yesterday. It's like, I think that there's become such a loose interpretation between a decision and a preference. Like, oh, I'd like to lose weight. Well, I'd like to be like an online coach. It's like, when you make a true decision, it's like there's no other option.
Right.
It's like, I'm losing this weight, and I'm going to make sure every possibility that would hinder me from doing so is off the table. Like, I am going to become an online coach. Like, true decisions, you have to be relentless with that shit, and make sure you're doing everything in place, at least to get that. And it can change over time, right? But just that initial goal that you're trying to achieve. It's like, we have to fucking stick to it, be committed, and there's no other options when we make like a true decision. There's no way to talk yourself out of it. Or I wasn't really like self-sabotage, so then you can be like, oh well, I wasn't really trying in the first place anyways, which happens.
Yeah, it's like a defense mechanism. You're protecting yourself against pain, because if you tell yourself, well, I wasn't really that serious about it to begin with, it's less hurtful when it doesn't happen, you know. So I think for me, having my name on my business for so long, and making that part of my identity, it's made it now. I mean, again, it's more pressure, but like now I just know, it's not an option to stop. It just makes it more. And now I've seen what it's like. I mean, there was a point where I was over the years, like where I was like, oh, I don't want to do online, I just want to do in person. And then I was like, well, maybe I want my own space. So I was looking at spaces, but then I was like, well, do I want to, have to be at a place, whatever, maybe I'll do online. Now I would bounce back and forth over time. And like, it just ended up being, for me personally, it's just whatever situation is going to create the most freedom for me. Freedom of schedule, allow me to, spend time with my son and have, that freedom. So for me, it's just, whatever, that's the end goal. So as long as I'm on that path, I can navigate the ups and downs. So I know the end goal is just more freedom.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man. No, absolutely. And when it comes for you, so when it comes to now being a family man and living that lifestyle as well, for the people that say they don't have time, or they look at me and Chris and like, Chris has his own facility, I'm like a trainer, we're young guys who like don't have like families or something. Like, for the people that have the I don't have the time excuse, you have the family now. What are the ways that people can make time? Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. How is it that people can find a way to get the work in, even if their lives are crazy busy?
So the one thing I've definitely learned over my experience, like just through life experience, is just that so there's a lot of like kind of corny sayings out there, like, there's no excuses, and there's, we all, it's not that you don't have the time, it's not a priority for you, whatever the case may be. But just dealing with the amount of clients that I've worked with, and living my own life, and having a child, and owning a home, and owning your own business, I realized that there are a lot of very valid excuses. I think that the whole no excuses thing just isn't true. There's a lot of valid reasons why people don't have time to work out. I mean, just to give you a little snapshot of what my life looks like my wife's a teacher. She also has her own nutrition coaching business as well. So she's super busy. I do 25-30 hours a week of in-person appointments, and I have 20 plus online clients that require daily communication, program updates, weekly video check-ins that I do. So we're talking like a time investment of sitting in. Any new client that I take on gets it gets a 1 hour consult with me up front, and then another Zoom call to get them started. And then, like I said, the more check-ins. Super fucking busy. Up at 4 a.m. And we don't use a nanny, and we don't use daycare. So anytime that I'm not working, I have the baby. And there's a lot of times where I'm working and having the baby at the same time, where he's sitting on me napping and I'm working from my phone. So I totally get that there is not enough hours in the day to get everything you want done. So the one piece of advice I would give to the average person who works a 9 to 5, who has kids, who feels like they don't have the time, is that it doesn't take as much time as you think it does. People think that they need to commit an hour, 2 hours, multiple times a week to be able to do this stuff. And it doesn't take that much time. If you could realistically set aside 20 to 30 minutes a couple of times a week, you can see life-changing results. Now, will it take a little bit longer than if you're working out 5 days a week? Yeah, probably. But what's the other option? You're going to continue to gain weight and continue to be unhealthy. So my piece of advice to those people is like, it doesn't take as much time as you think. I'm the type of person who, when I used to work out, when I was 25, I'd work out 5-6 days a week, 90 minutes minimum. I'd, do my 20-minute warm up. I'd build up to my, heavy squat, deadlift. Then I do my accessory work. Then maybe I do a fun circuit at the end. Then I'd go to Chipotle with my friends. It was fucking great. I don't have that time right now. I don't have time for that. Now I literally, if I work out, I turn my garage into a gym. So I work out there. you know, 60 minutes. If I go over and work out like at a gym where I have a membership at, dude, I look like a Unabomber, like hood up, fucking beanie down to my eyelids. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't have time. So like for me, it's the short answer is it just doesn't take as much time as you think. If you could find something that you enjoy doing and commit to it twice a week for 30 minutes, along the way, as you see results, it'll become more of a priority and you'll make more time for it. But up front, just understand that if you need like 2 days a week, if you could do 2 days a week of exercise, make some small changes in your diet along the way, you'll start to see results.
Absolutely. 2 days a week. You heard it here first. Just something, anything is always better than nothing. Anything is always better than nothing.
It's a step in the right direction, at least.
Yeah. And I know that doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't sound sexy to say that, but like when you're sitting there on a Zoom call or talking face to face with someone and they're literally crying and telling you that they just don't understand how they got to where they're at in their life, and they just want to change. They don't want to be themselves anymore. They're sick of the weight. Like, what do you, and maybe they have kids. Maybe they're a single mom. Maybe they're, you know, someone just passed away in their family and they're taking care of an elderly relative. Like, I can't sit there face to face with someone and go, well, if you can't work out 5 days a week, then this is no use for you. Right. So again, it's letting them see, well, I let clients guide the program. So I say to them, well, how many days a week can you realistically commit to working out? And for a lot of people, they'll say 2. That'll be and I'll say, okay, cool. Because they think I'm going to say, well, how about 4? And then they can back out. But when they say 2, I'm like, yeah, cool, we'll do 2. Sure. And then we start there. And then before you know it, after a month goes by, they're asking me, like, can I do a 3rd workout? Do you think like I could do one? And then we do a 3rd, and then they're like, oh, well, you know, I started walking on the weekends and things like that. And we start to make it more a priority. But if you hit them right off the bat with 4 days a week, and we got to like have these protein goals, and you're going to start doing this for your nutrition, they're just going to be like, listen, man, my kid had me up till 3 o'clock in the morning last night. I'm working till 6 p.m. tonight, and then I got to take my kid to gymnastics. Like, I don't have time for that shit. Yeah. So another thing that I'll do is not to get too into the weeds with the coaching stuff, but a lot of people eat out too much. So like for me, a small layup right off the bat might just be like, okay, well, what are the 3 restaurants you guys stop at most of the time? Okay. And then I'll look up the menus for them and be like, here, then when you go there, you're going to order one of these 3 things. And we start there. For some people, it's that, you know, maybe they can't prep their own meals. Yeah. So
it's a great idea. Yeah.
That's kind of a long answer to a simple question.
No, dude, no, your answers have been spot on, man. Don't even stress at all.
Sure.
The next thing I want to get into. So, for Adam Badger's goals right now, business wise, life wise, family wise, what are your goals for the next 2022 coming right up here?
Oh, okay, cool. So I would like to be like sit here and say like, oh, I want to build this empire of whatever fitness empire. But realistically, man, I enjoy helping people. I'm going to do more public speaking engagements where I'm talking to groups of people and working with them. As far as business goals, my goal by the end of 2022 is to be predominantly online, to have the main source of my income be online coaching, and hopefully having 1 or 2 coaches working underneath me also doing online coaching. So I'd like to provide an opportunity for other trainers to make a more sustainable, scalable income as well. And as far as business goes, that's my business goals for 2022. Family goals, honestly, man, is to just spend as much quality time with my son and my wife as possible. So if that means making less money, I'm okay with that. If that means, putting a ceiling on the amount of time I'm going to work each day, then that's something I'm okay with. And then also just travel. I want to travel more. We haven't been on a trip since, February of 2020. So I want to go on a couple of trips this year and just, take my son places and see and go to some beaches and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Any specific places in mind?
Well, we definitely want to go to we want to start small because he's like 13 months. So like we want to start small. I don't want to a long flight. So maybe something short, like just going to Florida or something at first. But long term, I definitely want to go. I would love to go to like Tulum, Mexico, the Maldives. Me and my wife got married in Cabo, Mexico. So I'd like to go back to Cabo at some point. California. I would like to go to California again. We have some friends out there.
Dude, no, I love it. All those places sound like, especially Tulum and that's bucket list. Maldives is bucket list stuff, man.
Yeah, we have a shared. Me and my wife have a shared note in our phone of bucket list places we want to go. We've crossed a few off of them so far. COVID then kind of threw a wrench in the rest of them, but we're gonna get back on it as soon as possible.
Yeah, dude, I feel that, man. I was supposed to go to Costa Rica for Christmas this next week, and COVID kind of made that shit to bed a little bit. So I feel
dude,
it sucks. I didn't know how much I liked traveling until I met my wife, and I hadn't really been on any trips before, man. I was just someone who just worked all the time. That was all I did. I didn't go do anything fucking fun besides go out to dinner with my friends once in a while, but like I didn't do anything. And then we went on a few trips during the first couple of years we were dating, and I was like, oh man, this is a lot of fun. I want to do this more often. Now I'm super into traveling.
Dude, absolutely. I'm a big traveler here. I'm down with it, man. Do you have you got anything else?
Nah.
We're all good.
Yeah.
Yo,
Adam, thank you so much for joining us today. And
you got the main takeaways from today?
dude, we covered a lot.
I know we did. We always, every time Chris tries to sum up at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, like I always do like a little
takeaways.
recap. Like
Yeah,
here's our main
summary.
takeaways.
Yeah.
We went over a lot. I think going all the way back to the beginning, taking a risk, being a shark, like you said, right when you were getting into your career at Vent, taking advantage of opportunities, seizing them. One of my biggest takeaways out of this. Number 2, let's see, what else did we hit that was big? Not reinventing the wheel. If you're someone looking to gain more information on fitness and nutrition, the wheel's been invented. It's very simple. Don't buy into all these TikToks and all that. Come see someone like Adam, Brandon, or myself, and we'll simplify it for you. And another thing, too, that I love, Adam, is that you're a huge family man. I hope one day to be just like you in that, and that's an inspiration for me to balance both work, life, business, and making my family number one priority. So you're a real...
And of all the things we talked about, that is the absolute hardest one, because you're torn between, you think if you're working harder and working more, you can provide more, right? But then you're spending less time, and finding that balance, man, it's hard. It's a daily struggle, and I'm not perfect at it. I wish I was better at it. But I will say, dude, if just from my advice is, you just can't get time back. So if you just if you just understand, like you said, Brendan, earlier, if you just make a decision, like I'm going to be successful at something, if you just put that belief in yourself and just understand that as long as I'm a good person and I do things the right way and I work hard, it'll turn out that way. Definitely just try your best not to give up time with people that you really enjoy being around for the hopes of being more successful. Because I've honestly, man, in the last like 4 years since I'm my own business, man, I've lost touch with so many good friends, and not because of anything bad happening, just because me not being present and not being available. And that's one hard lesson that I've learned, man, is just like putting all of it all into your business. It will pay off in the end, but just watch what you sacrifice along the way, because you can alienate some people.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I totally agree, man. Yo, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been a lot of fun, and thank you so much for the advice. And I hope to stay in touch, man, and continue to communicate and help each other with the fitness field, man. These coaches and trainers, man. It's like it is. There's no love lost here. Like, it's not competition, man. Like, I'm always trying to like learn and help everyone else as much as we can, because the reason we all got into this essentially is because we want to help people become the best versions of themselves, man. And so everyone, if you're in here for the right reason, then there's no reason why we can't all just help each other and uplift each other along the way, right?
Amen to that.
I agree.
Hell yeah. All right, my friend.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Speaking of family, I got to go tag out and take over the baby for a little while. What were you going to ask?
Oh, wait. Last thing. Where can people find you, Adam?
Awesome. So the best hub for all my information will be my Instagram page, which would be at Badger Strength. Super simple. It's BADGER, then strength. And there's links on there to my coaching programs, to my podcast, to pretty much everything else I have to offer. And I also have a free Facebook community called the Consistency Crew. There's 300 members in it right now. So if you're someone who is looking to lose weight, or you're struggling on that journey, I highly recommend you hopping in that Facebook group. It's free. I'm going to be posting even more on there in the coming months. Doing a lot of free cool individual coaching on there as well. So Badger Strength on Instagram is the best way to find all that stuff.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you heard it here first. All right, my friend. Go take care of the family, and hope to talk to you soon, man. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye.